Chapter 3. Arlo and Owen entered the dark forest. They were walking along a path, but they could hardly see anything. Owen spoke of the matter. "Wow, it's getting darker here, and it's only noon. Not that I'm scared or anything. What's there to be afraid of?" Arlo looked around in the forest. After a while, their eyes adjusted to the darkness, and they continued along the path. Suddenly, from behind a huge tree, a large lumberjack appeared and stood in their way. In one hand he held a drink bottle with brandy, and with the other hand he gestured for them to stop. He was looking down at the bottom of the bottle, looking pretty drunk. He staggered a little, but took another sip and then spoke. "What are you doing in my forest, little people?" "We are looking for my sister. She was kidnapped by soldiers on horseback. Have you seen them around?" explained Arlo to him. "Here I ask the questions, and how much is it worth to you to tell you?" the lumberjack asked back. "We have no money. We are poor," said Owen. "Then I don't know anything either. Maybe they came this way, maybe not." "Very well, we'll find out for ourselves," said Arlo. "It's not like that. You'll still have to pay the passage fee. What have you got?" "Nothing but a key." Arlo showed he was telling the truth. "And what am I supposed to do with a rusty key? Is there maybe a locked wine barrel to go with it?" wondered the lumberjack. "That's all I have." "Why? Could you drink another barrel of wine?" "I don't think you can even drink half a bottle of brandy," Arlo teased. Who? Me? Now watch this, smart boy." The lumberjack started to drink the rest of his brandy in one gulp. He paused once, but he didn't give up. He kept going. By the time he got to the end, he just dropped like a bag and snored. "Why drink if you can't hold the liquor?" said Owen as they passed him and went on. After a while, they came to a clearing where they saw a house with a smoking chimney. They rushed there. "Good day to you. Anybody home?" Arlo called in. "Greetings to the young gentleman. I am Ralph, the baker." "Come in," said an elderly man through the open door. "My name is Arlo. This is my friend Owen." Arlo introduced himself, and they went into the house and sat down at the table, as the baker offered them a seat. He also offered the boys water. "Thank you, sir. As a matter of fact, we could do with some bread. We're all out," said Arlo. "I'd like to offer you some bread, but I couldn't bake any. I ran out of flour 3 days ago, and the merchants haven't brought any since." Arlo took the bag of flour he had got from the miller out of his bag. "Is this enough?" He handed it to the baker. "All right. I'll bake bread for you on one condition. Bring me 2 buckets of fresh water from the stream. It's not far, and you're young. You'll get there in no time." "It's true, we are in a hurry, but we must wait for the bread," said Owen, looking at Arlo. "I know where you are hurrying to. You're following Count Walter, who has kidnapped a little girl who must be the sister of one of you. They're on their way to the Great Plain, beyond which may be the Count's hidden castle," said the baker. "Yes, my sister, Daisy. Count Walter? Why would he do such a thing? Daisy is only 12 years old," wondered Arlo, looking puzzled. "I don't know, but I do know that he's after the kingdom, and the king's daughter doesn't want to see him," explained the baker. "I don't understand why Daisy is needed for this." Arlo still looked puzzled. "I don't understand that either. Now, will you get the water or what?" Yes, we're on our way. Where's that stream?" asked Owen. "Just down there," said the baker, and pointed. They took the 2 buckets and set off straight in the direction the baker had pointed. Chapter 4. Meanwhile, in the palace, a marriage proposal was in progress. They were asking for the hand of Her Royal Highness Princess Lydia, who Count Walter also had his eye on. The princess was in the process of rejecting a very generous suitor. The king was seated on the throne, his daughter beside him, with bodyguards on either side. In his finery, the suitor prince appeared in front of her, some of his servants behind him. He said, "Your Royal Highness, Princess Lydia, as a token of my love, please accept this fresh, dewy rose, which I have gathered myself on my long journey." Then he turned to the king. "Your Majesty, please receive my small gift as a token of my esteem, some of which you may see here and some at the court. 1 vat of gold, 77 oxen, 33 snow-white steeds, 12 herded deer, and wild boar," said the prince, pointing to the herded game lined up behind him. "Your Highness, Prince, you are—" said the king, but his daughter immediately cut in. "I can't bear to see it." "But my daughter," said the king. "What am I? A commodity that can be bought just like this," said the princess indignantly. "Excuse me, your highness," said the prince, who was begging her, but she interrupted him again. "I forgive you. You may leave." "This is very unfortunate," said the king, turning to the prince. The suitor bowed and hurried away. His servants followed. The king shook his head. "My daughter, you should not have done that. This was a very kind and generous nobleman, but you cannot bear to see him, nor the previous 19. We already talked about this. This is for the kingdom. By the way, Count Walter came to see me again and asked to speak to you. Who are you waiting for, my daughter?" "They all want the kingdom, not me. I'm waiting for the one who loves me, and until then I'll turn down everyone else," sighed Lydia. She stood up, walked out, and motioned for her personal bodyguard to follow her. Chapter 5. Arlo and Owen were still looking for the stream with a bucket in each hand. "I told you to leave this all. Now we're lost," grumbled Owen. "No, we're not lost. We're coming straight, just like the baker said." "Besides, you didn't tell me to leave this all," replied Arlo. "Then how come we haven't reached the stream yet? He said we'd get there soon, but we've been walking for a long time." "Trust me, there is something special about this baker. I think he knows something else. He just didn't tell me." "What if it's a trap? What if he's trying to trick us? What if he's working for Count Walter?" Owen began to suspect. "Then why would he talk about the Count?" "So we wouldn't suspect him." "But that doesn't make any sense. He could have done it more simply." "Well, that's it. Then that would be suspicious, you see?" "Ah, forget it. There's the stream." They went to the stream and filled the buckets with water. Then Arlo waved to Owen. "Owen, do you hear that?" "Hear what?" "The birds." "No." "Well, that's just it. Me neither. It's like they just disappeared." Then they heard some kind of animal bellowing and rapid footfalls. "Run!" cried Arlo. They started running. The animal followed them. They couldn't see what it was, only the sound of its voice, and it sounded dangerous enough. The baker was smoking a pipe on a small bench in front of his house, picking seeds. Arlo and Owen ran panting out of the trees. "Now you return. I was beginning to worry that you had drowned in the stream," the baker told them. "How could we drown? We nearly lost our teeth. Some wild animal was chasing us, and it was not a short journey at all," Owen complained. "It was shorter on the way back," joked the baker. "We've brought the water." Arlo pointed to the buckets, which were now only half full from running. "Well, that wasn't exactly what it was about, but thank you for this too. Your bread is done." Taking the 2 buckets, they went into the house. From the 2 buckets he poured the remaining water into a small jug, sprinkled on some powder or spice, and then poured it all into a flask. He took the bread out of the oven and wrapped it in a cloth. "Here's the bread for luck, you see, but be careful. Eat it only when you're really hungry. Hungry like you've never been hungry before." He handed the bread to Arlo and continued, "And here's a flask of water to refresh you and give you strength. But be careful. Drink it only when you are really thirsty. Thirsty like you have never been before." Then he gave it to Arlo, who took both and thanked him. "And now, good luck to you. May the Lord be with you on your journey," said the baker as he said goodbye. The 2 good friends also bade farewell and continued their journey through the forest. They walked and walked for quite a while, and then, coming down a hill, they left the forest, and a vast plain spread out before them. Just dry, cracked earth, gorse weeds, and small bushes in every direction, as far as the eye could see. It was autumn, but the cloudless midday sun still warmed the ground well. "This is the great plains the baker spoke of. Beyond this is the Count's castle," said Owen after he observed the landscape. "His hidden castle? How will we find it?" Arlo mused. "Before we set off for the plain, we might rest here in the shade for a while. We could eat something, and we're thirsty," suggested Owen. "Owen, I'm tired too, but we don't have time to rest. We're a day behind," answered Arlo. Yes, I know, but we could at least sit here for half an hour. We'll be marching all day in the hot sun, and I'm really thirsty. Can you get me some water from that flask?" "All right. Let's sit down for a while. You might be right." Arlo relented in the end. They sat down at the foot of a big tree, and Arlo gave the flask to Owen. "You drink. I'll drink later. I'm not really thirsty." "Not that I understood what the baker meant by that," said Arlo. Owen took a drink of water, which gave him a new feeling of strength, and immediately changed his mind about resting. "Well, let's go now. We've had enough rest. I can't sit idle any longer while Daisy is a prisoner." "That's the spirit," agreed Arlo. They walked out of the forest and across the plain towards the endless horizon.